Welcome back to the channel. This week is all about making a spray cover for my Drascombe Lugger. With the complicated curves that the Lugger has, this presented itself as a very complicated challenge. But by carefully measuring twice and cutting and screwing everything together, we make some decent progress. This is one of the biggest jobs I've undertaken so far, but we walk through it step by step and make some progress. I hope you enjoy the episode. So, it's not a bad morning. I always forget how beautiful this little section of the river is. Just ebbing out slowly at the moment still. Can't be far from low tide actually. And if you look over there, you'll just see, well, around look, you'll see the fog just starting to lift, and there was some beautiful fog coming across. If I had the drone with me, I would have got some nice drone shots today. Anyhow, today is all about getting a few key jobs done on the boat. First thing I want to do is look at this spray cover. So we've got to go and get the little bowsprit so we can do our ridge. And I want to make sure if I can get the height right, I can screw in the little eye, this thing today, which will be good. And then I've brought my PVC, and we'll get that sort of taken on to the next step. This boat, crazy, isn't it? I think that's a steel boat. Completely steel. Crazy, isn't it? I think there's one up there. You can just see the note, the blue nose. There's another metal boat down there poking its nose out. So I don't know what the story is with these. Never seen anyone down here. Now, one thing I want to do with this bowsprit before we attach or try and mess around with this spray cover is work out what height we need this to go. So the height is really going to be dependent on a few things. First of all, I can sit here, it's dry. I can't sit down because it's icy on the side. First of all, we need it to be kind of high enough to form a ridge, but I figure even if it was flat it would do its job, so that's not a major concern. We can't have it too high for two reasons. First is, if we're using the ridge as the bowsprit, the higher that ridge is pulled up at the back, the lower the end of the bowsprit goes. So yes, we can compensate by putting a line on for the sails, but it looks ugly and it's not ideal, so I'd rather have it the flatter the better, really. Now we could also have two positions for the bowsprit. The other thing is I don't want it too high so I can't see anything. So when I'm sat here, I need to be able to look forward, as well. So I don't want it too high so I can't see anything, but I need it high enough to make that space underneath useful as well. So there'll be a trick to that as well, because if you make it too high, you'll have too big a void I'm thinking if you make it low enough, so a few stuff sacks and whatnot will sort of reinforce that canvas or PVC that's going on the top, it would just be a little bit better, wouldn't it, if, you know, if a wave were to go over the top. So that's what we need to do. So first thing I'm going to do is just check the height from back here. I've just made a little makeshift knot in the this just holds the cover up, and it'll do its job. Look, there you go, it's just got it at the right height there, and there's that little mark, and if you can see that I made before, which I think is the ideal height. So let's check. First of all, let's check what that's like at the front of the boat. There's a good volume under there, isn't there? You know, I'm a big believer of the more storage you have, the more you'll put junk in it, so we don't want it too big. Let's have another look at the height. Yeah, that's good. Let's go to the back of the boat. I'm going to try and put, well, I'm just giving this a, still wet. I don't really want to get a wet bum this early, but if I'm sat like that, this is about eye height when I'm sat down. So, you know, I'm trying to imagine that's going to be pretty good actually. I don't lose any, maybe a tickle. And then if I'm sat back here, again, I'm actually higher if I sit on the back, so I'm more like that. There you go, yeah. And actually, yeah, that's good. I can see quite a lot. So, to be honest with you, it could go higher, but I think for the spray cover, that's not, I don't need it any higher. Do we want it a little high? Do we want to keep it in that natural position? I'm going to lower it. I think lower the better. And then from the side here, it looks okay. Let me go from this side. As much as we love the sun, it's not great for them. There you go. And there's the side. That looks good, doesn't it, that profile? Let's try and leave you there. If you just put it up, it just looks a little bit too high, doesn't it? That's what I want. Is that gonna, you know, if we had it there, you know, which would be way too high, you can see how if you had it, say, there, just, this is just for fits and giggles. Let's try and balance that up there if we can. Well, I'll have to hold it, I think. Yeah. Then you can see how if a wave were to come over, it's gonna, you know, come off much better than there. And then if you do it there, it's very flat, so the wave is more likely to come over and hit the back and come over into the back, which is why we're going to also need to build something here, an upright, to sort of, so when the wave hits, it'll go down there. And actually, ideally, it probably needs to come down at an angle, so it'll come off the boat there. But that's for another video. So here's the fair lead I'm going to use. It's going to go on the mast, and I think ideally these are size 8 screws, because you can see they fit quite nicely in there. We don't want any raised edges. The size 10 do sort of raise a little bit like that. We've got sails and whatnot brushing past here, and to be honest with you, it doesn't take an awful lot of strain, this, at all. So I could go with the inch long, but I'm going to go the 1.25 inches. I think the 1.5 inches were a bit long, to be frank, to go in the mast. So we're going to go with size 8 screws, 1.25 inches, and these are, everything here is 3/16 stainless. So let's get at least this one put in, and then what I think we'll do, we'll unscrew it later, and then we'll put some filler in when we've mixed that up later. I probably should have just used the inch long to retain it with, shouldn't I? But there we go. I need a new bit in this screwdriver. It's a little bit slippy. I was catching myself in my brain blaming the screws for being a bit soft, but It's not the screws at all, it's the bit. I'm hoping that's straight. Yeah, I think that'll do. Now, we did originally say we were going to have this the other way round and bend it round, but we can't fold this up anyway, so I've left it like that. So as long as that's, we'll just hold it in place. That's the idea today. So do it up nice and tight. And I've got another set here. I'm just going to pop that down here so we don't lose it. And then that can now clip onto there, find its home. Right, so we're just going to dry off the outer ball here and the gunnel. And that's just so we can stick some tape on there. Now, I don't want to get this too dirty, but you can see, I think it's, is it, what's that? It's 5 foot, isn't it? So it's 1.5 meters wide. Now, it's, the perfect scenario will be if we can drape this over and it fits the whole way. So let's see if we can do that. Now, it's not all bad news it being needing 2 pieces. In many ways it might make it a little bit easier because I want to join it in the middle anyway. So I think having one piece, all in one piece, wouldn't work. So yeah, I think it's best that we can join it in the middle and then do that little overlap thing as well that we were talking about. Now, that's about where we need it, but we need it to come back at least that much. I've forgotten my tape measure, so I'm going to use this piece of wood just to measure that, because it can't come beyond here anyway. So let's move that sticker to where that needs to go, and we'll make sure we give plenty of room. So it needs to be the length we are now, plus, let's see, another fold, at least. Try not to damage this. Yeah, so it's just a little bit more than that fold. Gosh, it's going to be using all of my stuff up. I've got it laid out here. Let's make sure we measure this properly. As you always say in the building trade, measure twice, cut once, and then we'll get it the right size. Just made a little mark where that stone was. And then so I've only got that much left. So the bad news is I don't think I'm going to have enough to do the other side, which is annoying, but we'll just have to get some more. This one worry I've got with this is it's a little bit too thin. You know, you can get the bulkier stuff, you know, that you find on proper boat covers. I'm just having a look around if I can find it, you know, that like Mocking D's got that really thick vinyl, but it's not very expensive. So, and I use it for loads. It's really pliable. So I think for the tent this is going to be really useful. So I'm going to need to buy some more anyway. So I think the worst thing would be not to have enough to do one side. And then the theory would be that So the theory would be we can do one side of this, and then what we'll do is cut out a mirror image for the other side, and then we'll do the Velcro down the middle. But then what we'll do is we'll pull it tight, mark off where it needs to be then attached to the gunnel stroke wood, and then we'll have a lovely tight cover, which, well, that's the theory anyway. So let's have a look. I've been jiggering around with this for about 20 minutes. You can see, look where it attaches. See that screw? Like 2 inches back of the screw, and here 2 inches back of the screw. We're just about there. Now, it gives a little bit of draft backwards. It would have been better if it was here, but I'm not going to be able to make this. So I think we can make it out of one piece if we do it this way. But this may not be adequate. But do you know what? It's going to give us our very first prototype, isn't it? If it needs to come back, well, it needs to come back, doesn't it? I mean, there's even a bit more there to play with as well, look. So, yeah, look at that. So we're there. So it looks nice. Looks nice there. I can sit down now. That's my head height there, right on my eyes sight. You literally lose this tiny little bit, but this side you can see. That side, yeah, and then, oh god, just gotta be careful with the wet. Sit here, yeah, you just lose the tiniest little bit there. Now, there's another little benefit of this, which is, you know, if you sat on the floorboards here, you've got a little bit of respite. Mizzen up, so she faces into the wind. This is a windbreak, so you've got a little bit of respite. You could cook a cup of coffee or, you know, something here. I like the idea of that. Now, the other thing is potentially anchoring a tent here. I'm not quite sure how we're going to do that, but that's for videos that are coming up. I think we need to worry about one thing at a time. So let's go and adjust this back to where we wanted it, and then we'll get it cut up. So we're about there. As long as we get this right, that needs to be over there, not there. That's what it was. There we go. We've got this roughly there. What I think we can do now is cut down. We'll give a couple of inches gap, and then we've got plenty here to trim. Remember, this is only going to be coming in to here, like that. So we've got loads of spare to trim, and then we'll very carefully cut this again an inch or even 2 in here. That will give us the option of then maybe trying to flip something up, put a piece of wood in there. I don't know. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and then I think there comes a point where you've just got to snip it and be done with it. So let's go and do that now. Okay, so there's half of it done. There we go. And that will now, we can sort of get this a little bit tighter now as to how we want it. Go up there, and then the other piece is just going to come over and Velcro. So yeah, that would be reliant, wouldn't it, heavily on that Velcro. When we come to unzip this to take it down, the idea would be that, you know, we would, obviously there's more fabric at the back here, but we would do this and even do that, because it would go, and we could just, you know, fasten it down like that, and that's how it would look on the gunnels. So let me just get all this into perspective. I over-engineer everything, as you may well know. And, you know, I use bolts and stainless steel where, you know, a bit of sellotape might do the job. So I think if it's okay for me, it's probably okay. And I think, yeah, that's it really. So all I'm going to do now is just see if we can lay this out and see if we can cut another side of this out with that. Because you never know, if we can wiggle it around a bit, it might work. I'm supposed to have a mathematical brain. What do you know? Look at that. We can get that piece out the other side. It was probably just because it was bunched up around the mast that it couldn't stretch out, but that seems to be okay. So all we need to do now is make sure we get the mirror image, but make sure we get the shiny side out on the other side. I'd love to use this straight edge, but I can't. So we're going to have to do it this way. There we go. 2 pieces. I think we now will tape those together and we'll fit it over and see if it kind of fashion fits, and then we just got to take it home. There we go. So I've just taped that across the ridge and we're just going to throw it over now and see if it'll fit. This Gorilla Tape does not like the PVC, so you're just going to have to be super careful, otherwise it's going to come undone. Just do it nice and carefully. There we go. That's it. All we're trying to do is make sure the whole thing fits before we go home and start putting sewing Velcro onto it. But there you go, look, yeah. Whoop. Plenty of room, even with that. I know that. Just pull that up. You can see we've got tons of room yet. There we go. Oh, I'm really chuffed with this. Yeah. Awesome. So there's not much we can do now, other than before we finish this, let me show you how the fastening is meant to work. So this is just a test strip, but this is roughly the size and thickness that I was thinking of. It's 12mm thick, 34mm high, wide, which is roughly, look, and it fits the gunnel really well there. And the idea was we just sandwich that in there. So let's try and just bring this over a little bit. It's going to be a little bit difficult to show you with one hand, I think, but there we go. And that's how we do it. And so this we will attach to this wood, so this will always remain one piece, and then we just got to find a way of then, I mean, the easiest way of doing this would be to screw this into the gunnel, you know, and then if we make this the right colour, or we get some nice wood, it could almost be part of the boat, you know. We round the edges off nicely, make it look really nice machine piece of wood. And then there we go, like that. And then that would be permanent. And then onto this, we would also have some little, I don't know what we would do at the moment, cleats, but when we wanted to unzip it or split it open here, we could just wrap that around in a ball, and we would just have a piece of string that would go round, a bit like reefing a sail in a way. So we're getting there, aren't we? But this project will have to wait now till we get home. I think the next thing will be is to get this middle bit sorted. Once we've done that middle bit and we've got some Velcro in, we can then come back here, give this a really good, strong, tight fit. And then what we can do is connect it up to the wood. And then, yeah, then we've got to take the plunge. How do we connect it into here? One other way of doing it, I mean, there's no two ways about it. If you want to do this, you're going to have to drill some holes somewhere. What I noticed some people have done, not necessarily on a lugger, they've got the clips, the lacing eyes upturned here. And a lot of people do that for the tent as well. And it's actually the easy way of doing your tent. I'll show you why it's not the best way on the lugger actually, but you just put those along here and you just use the elastic and then that will pull that down. But I'm figuring, would you rather have those clips here or just have a hole, or have holes through the gunnel? Or we could drill, let me show you, little holes right under the gunnel. So actually, rather than the wood being here, you could have your wood, I'll try and show you this, it's a huge piece of wood, so you could have your wood actually underneath the gunnel. So, and then you could use bolts. So let me show you without the cover on. So it would be there. And then you would use your bolts to bolt in at certain intervals. So they're the two methods I'm thinking of. Hopefully I've got enough of this to do both or either. You know, and then when you remove this, oh, you've got some little holes along there. If you remove it from the gunnel, well, I'm not going to drill a hole all the way through for bolts. I think that's going to be too much. But you know, the idea, if we put it on the gunnel, the idea will be we screw it in and we leave it. I don't know what's going to be the worst scenario. Now, if water gets into those little holes, I think water is always going to go over the gunnels anyway. I don't know. Yeah, that's worth thinking about as well, isn't it? That would put water, it would lower the waterline by 1.5 inches, wouldn't it? I think screwing them in and stop being silly. This Gorilla Tape does not like the PVC, so you're just going to have to be super careful, otherwise it's going to come undone. Just do it nice and carefully. There we go. This is just a test strip, but this is roughly the size and thickness that I was thinking of. It's 12mm thick, 34mm high, or wide, which is roughly, and it fits the gunnel really well there. And the idea was we just sandwich that in there. So let's try and just bring this over a little bit. It's going to be a little bit difficult to show you with one hand, I think, but there we go. And that's how we do it. And so this we will attach to this wood, so this will always remain one piece, and then we just got to find a way of then, I mean, the easiest way of doing this would be to screw this into the gunnel, you know, and then if we make this the right colour, or we get some nice wood, it could almost be part of the boat. You know, we round the edges off nicely, make it look really nice machine piece of wood. So all I'm doing, I've got the drill, and what we're going to do is we're going to drill this hole in properly. If I bring you closer, if you look carefully, you can see the little ridge where that goes in, and then you'll see if I twist that, there we go. There's the existing hole. Now, and then the problem was, if we want that to be like that, Well, it kind of rests like that, doesn't it? There's the problem. That's no good. So we need to shift that round so that is square. Obviously moves the hole. We've got to drill a new hole. So the only trouble with this is, I don't know, if I now move that out, I don't know if I want to... Where's it gone? I don't know if I want a hole like there and then one there in the same spot. So I think we're gonna, let's have a look how much have we got overlap here. Oh god, we've got loads of overlap, haven't we? Look, where's the hole? Yeah, so I think we'll just bring that hole out by an inch, maybe a little more. Yeah, I think that is more than forward enough, I think. So I think that's where we want it. So let me now just get all that measured up properly. I think that's about there. Squared up, should I say, properly. Stop. Found my little pin. I keep looking for this, and that should just go all the way through. There you go. So that'll lock it. So that's now locked that way. Now, when we want to bring this in, I mean, when we're cruising, you know, there's no reason why I just leave that out. You can very easily bring it in. Oh, there's a bit of... Now, we can actually, rather than put another hole in there, we can just use this through here to secure that. And then if we've got these like in here like this, or even, yeah, let's just put them like that. They're not going to hit anything. That's secure. Whoop, let's put the bot end back in. And these are dangling, but they're all right. But look how easily we can actually take those off as well. They're only on there so I don't lose them at the moment. So I think this bowsprit is pretty cool. So I'm really chuffed with that. I know the video was all about this spray cover, but it is a complicated thing to make, or I'm finding it is. We've still got some problems. I think we've dealt with this bit, but I think we've still got those, I think they're called baffles. We've got to work those out as well. But I'm starting to enjoy this little project now rather than dread it. We'll take the cover home, we'll get the Velcro on, and next time we're back here, we'll start getting the rest of it done. So it's quite exciting. Thank you very much for watching. We're just about to leave as the tide turns, and if you can see, we've got almost low water here now, and then I don't think it's anywhere near springs at the moment, but the spring usually brings a ball wave with it, but here it's going to fill up very dramatically now. So in the next video we're going to turn to some fiberglassing, because as you can see the weather is amazing right now for February, so we're going to take it and we're going to get on with those jobs in the next one. See you very soon. Bye bye.